Okay, so this is the scariest thing that I've ever experienced, so I hope you guys enjoy it. This is a very true story. I always thought the Ouija board was a bunch of crap until this happened to me. Not trying to scare anyone, but really, just trying to warn you. I have a best friend I've known since I was about 5 years old. Her name is Amber. One night we went to our aunt's house in Five Point, Texas. Her aunt had one of her friends there too. We were supposed to be decorating Amber's aunt's kids' homecoming float, but it was really cold that night, so we went inside. Amber's aunt and her friend had just been screwing around with an Ouija board for the past couple of months, and even had a regular spirit they contacted. I can't remember his name. I honestly just thought it was a bunch of bullshit, and I didn't think anything about it. I was sitting on a recliner in the living room, and Amber was sitting on the couch. Her aunt and her friend were doing the Ouija board on the floor in the living room. I figured it was all a bunch of crap, but was kind of confused when the supposed spirit guy said something about how he saw Amber's aunt watching porn and masturbating. I was confused because if they were bullshitting, why would they say that about her? And she even looked embarrassed and was trying to play it off. All of a sudden, that same spirit said something that pertained to me, but I can't remember what it was now. And we asked it who it was talking about. It said the girl with the brown eyes. I have brown eyes, but so does Amber's aunt. So we asked it which one. It said the girl whose favourite colour is green. I knew that Amber's aunt and her friend wouldn't have known, but Amber would have, so I figured they were just messing with me. It went on to say that I would die from a car wreck from speeding while drinking Miller Lite. Also it said TRV will see. TRV was the nickname of the guy I was dating at the time, and his name was Travis. Only his childhood friends called him that, and Amber didn't know that, much less her aunt or her aunt's friend. By this time, Amber started freaking out more than me, if you can believe it, and said turn it off, I don't want to hear about my friend dying. She almost started crying, which really kinda scared the shit out of me. This is where it gets really scary. When Amber's aunt and her friend tried to end the session, her aunt's two kids, Nick 4, Haley 3, started crying in their room. It was about 1 AM or 2 AM. I swear to the Lord the spirit guy said kids room and spelled out demon. Amber's aunt ran to the room and got the kids, and Nick said, Mama, I saw it. She asked what he saw and he just said it. I am not making any of this up, I swear. Nick had a long rash along the whole right side of his thigh that looked like somebody had grabbed him. They immediately closed the Ouija board, and no one has screwed around with it since. Here I am about 5 years later, and I'm still alive. But I will say that about a month after the Ouija thing, I did get pulled over for speeding on New Year's Day, after drinking like 18 Miller Lights, and Travis drove by and saw it. So who knows? All I know is that it's the scariest thing that's ever happened in my life, and I will never mess around with another board again. I was open to the idea of spirits and after death, but very skeptical of Ouija boards. I had a lot of schoolmates that played with Ouija boards, and their stories seemed to be a bit far-fetched. However, after making my own and not getting anywhere, I went out and bought one. I remember this one particular night playing with the Ouija board with my best friend like it was yesterday. We were maybe 13 at the time and playing the game on a bed. I asked the entity's name and it spelled out T-A-Z, Taz. After a few questions and receiving intelligent answers, we asked if it could move something. The pointer went straight to yes. After a couple of seconds, fairy lights that hung over my bed started to move. My friend noticed it more than I did, as I was way too busy looking around the room. So I asked, Could you do it again? We stared up at this time, and the fairy light shook violently, like somebody was physically shaking it. It wasn't swinging like there was a breeze. It was like actual shaking up and down, side to side, as if somebody had grabbed hold of it. The door and the window was closed, so there was no way it could be a breeze, and we would have felt it if there was one, because it moved so violently. That freaked me out more than anything I have ever experienced in my whole life, and I'm almost 30 now. I have no doubt there's spirits or things that we cannot see with the naked eye that can physically just move objects. I have learnt that you're inviting unknown entities to your home, and that you have no idea if it's good or bad. So please, don't mess around with a Ouija board unless you know what you're doing. Laba the demon possesses my sister. About 11 years ago, my sisters and I, my oldest one Linda, who was 17, second oldest Mia, who was 16, and me, who was 13, went to a garage sale to try and find some cool antiques to decorate our boring house with. After running around, not finding anything too interesting, we found a garage sale where this woman was selling a real, original Ouija board from the 1800s for a super cheap price. We were super excited since this was the only cool thing we had seen all day, so we considered buying it, not actually knowing what an Ouija board was. So we asked the seller what the Ouija board was. "What is an Ouija board?" Mia asked. "You can talk to ghosts with that board," the woman replied. We were all super excited. "How does it work?" "You ask a spirit a question, you use this little wooden mover with the glass in the middle to guide your hands to the letters and the numbers to answer your questions." Without any hesitation we bought it. When we took it home we had to hide it because my mum, being a super duper religious Italian Catholic, would totally disapprove. We went into the attic and then went into our little closet that we had in the attic. This was our clubhouse, and we brought a candle up to see. Linda asked it, "Are you really a ghost?" It replied yes. We were freaking out because we had never done anything like this before. It was obviously a ghost, but we were just screwing around. Me, "What's your name?" The board replied, Laba. Linda, speaking to me, "What the hell kind of a name is Laba?" We all laughed. It then spelled out very aggressively, "Don't laugh or else." We got super scared here, but we felt like since it said that, it was somebody moving it. We thought it was Mia since she hadn't said anything, so we turned to her. But Mia didn't say anything to what we thought at all. It was like she couldn't hear us. She looked super confused on the board. We got concerned. Mia, are you okay?" We took our hands off the planchette, but Mia was glued to it. The planchette suddenly then began to move. It said, "She is mine." We eventually got too scared and had to go and get our mum to help. Linda and I were too scared to stay up there with Mia acting all weird, so we left her alone for the maximum of 1 minute and 30 seconds. As soon as my mum came up to see, Mia was sobbing her heart out and saying that there was a rotten old woman in the room while we were gone who threatened to kill us all if we didn't give her our souls. Linda and I didn't want to believe this. It was just too unreal to be true, but my mum believed it 100% and called our local priest to bless the house the next morning. This was really, really serious for us. We had gotten a demon into our house. Even after the house was blessed, Mia still acted really weird. She rarely left the house for over a few hours because she thought Lava would kill us and she would avoid eating any red food whatsoever. She never explained why. Even today, Mia, who is now in her late 20s, became a super religious Catholic like my mum and devotes her life to the church. This was really weird because before the Lava incident, we all agreed that being religious was insane. When Maya is around, we can't even talk about Ouija boards because she'll start having panic attacks if we do. Whatever or whoever this Laba is, it ruined my sister's life. My friend and I would come together and play the Ouija board at least once a week. Each session we'd come in contact with Zozo or Mama. Each time it didn't seem threatening or scary. We would just talk and they seemed like normal spirits despite their reputation all over the internet. They'd fight over the control of the board to the point where the planchette would try to move to the answer of our question but couldn't. In one session the planchette was so heavy it felt like a piece of wood, then a piece of plastic. After each session I would actually have bad dreams. In one there was a woman in my doorway wearing a long dress in 80s fashion. She was evil and looking at me in a dark way. In our very last session, which is why I'm writing this now, I had felt a little bit nervous prior to starting, but we proceeded anyway. Like always, we'd asked if there was anyone who would like to communicate with us through the board, and like always, it didn't take long before we got an answer. We asked it to spell out its name. It immediately spelled out Mama. Normally, it would go back and forth between M and A. This time, it stopped. We asked how old it was. It said 0. We asked where it was from. It said hell. My friend asked if it knew everything. It said yes. She then asked what number was she thinking of. It quickly went to 8. She freaked out and snapped her hands away from the board. It knew her number. The air was cold. It got very cold. I had a very trapped, sick and threatening feeling which was washing over me. Mama was there and she knew we understood this wasn't casual anymore. She was there with us. It felt like her presence was directly behind us and hovering over us, almost as if she was standing there staring down at us. It was the most terrifying feeling we'd ever experienced. We felt that if we had asked another question, something bad was going to happen. I quickly told Mama goodbye and we cleansed the board, said our prayer and then called whoever we needed to make us feel better. I didn't think that playing the Ouija board would be so threatening. That is why we were so comfortable playing with it in the first place. But this last session was the one to shake us to the core. It was as if an intruder came in after unlocking all the doors, threatening to eat us alive. It was the quickest fear I'd ever became overwhelmed with, and I know she felt the same. Do not play with Mama, Zozo, or whatever they call themselves. They will hurt you. Just their presence alone is just as dangerous.